Hello, third and final session for today. This session is as part of our alternative cutting program. So this session is for all Michaeljohn level 2 and level 3 hairdressing apprentices. It is a part of our pivot point course, the alternative cutting program, and makes it the final session of day 3, which is today. There is also a quiz on pivot point that is attached to this session, and this session is all about split ends. Now, split ends is something we know a lot of clients suffer with. Hair typically for the last 10-15 years has been long. It's getting nothing but longer and longer and longer, particularly as we've been in lockdown. Everybody's hair has grown since lockdown. So split ends is something that we combat and battle with every single day. This is a treatment I actually offer to my clients in salon. I've seen many people offer this as a treatment, not a treatment rather than a haircut, which is why I call it the split ends treatment. We're not actually performing a haircut on the hair in a traditional sense by reducing length or changing shape or altering its movements. We're actually going to go through and maintain the current shape by inspecting each section to check to see where the split ends are and maintaining them using a trimming technique. Now, in order to achieve this, we'll need sectioning clips, we'll need a comb, and we'll need a pair of scissors. I would perform this technique on the hair prior to shampooing. So I would be working on the hair dry. I would also be working on the hair before we did the shampoo and conditioning treatments. Now, dependent on the rules that we will adhere to when we go back to hairdressing in the industry, this may slightly change. If it was to change, you would still be able to perform this technique once the hair had been shampooed, thoroughly cleansed, conditioned and blow dried. This technique does need to be performed on, however, dry hair. It cannot be performed on wet hair. It's a very, very simple technique, but highly effective. I'm going to work on my mannequin today. Now, my mannequin typically doesn't suffer from split ends because, well, she's a mannequin, but she does have hair that is shorter than the others, and I'm going to simulate those for the interest of this demonstration as split ends. What is a split end? Now, a split end is hair that is visibly broken onto the ends. It is not necessarily, as what many clients view as, hair that sticks out between the root and the point. These are just shorter hairs. I think it's really important to explain to your clients that hair grows at different rates, and every single hair in your head also has a different time, is at a different time within its life cycle. So we need to explain anagen, catagen, telogen and exogen in a way that clients can understand. So we would not necessarily use the terminology. We would say that the average lifespan is between 3 and 7 years. They're all working at different slight rates. When the hair is ready to go, it falls away and a new one comes in its place. So some of these shorter hairs are just simply younger hairs, and they're taking longer to reach the overall goal length. Hair that typically tends to be very full, say around about here, and then maybe thinner on towards the ends. One of the indications could potentially be is that the client has a shorter growth cycle. She's more at the 3 years end, rather than the 7 years. Clients that can easily grow the hair very, very long and it's very thick from root to point, they will typically tend to have a longer life cycle each individual strand. There is nothing that we can do to lengthen the life cycle coming from the root. When it falls, it's down to genetics. There are products out there, however, such as Kerastase Genesis, which actually can prolong the life very temporarily of hair fall. And these are something that you could recommend to your clients as an option. But this is really just a maintenance treatment. This is not something that's going to stop hair fall. I'm not really going into hair loss. That's a whole different market. This is really just something I add on to my services, particularly as a maintenance cut. This is particularly an appointment that I offer to clients that are maybe wearing their hair very, very long. They're notorious for not getting it cut. We all know we've got those clients. They'll come in every couple of months for a balayage, but they won't come and book their haircut. So this is something I'll add on as an add-on service. I don't charge this as a full haircut. I don't believe it is a full haircut. I offer this as maybe more like an add-on to a treatment. So I would say through the analysis of the hair, I'm noticing that some of these ends along the plane of the hair are broken and split, and they could do with a maintenance cut. And that's how I would promote this to a client. because many people are nervous about getting the hair cut. But the hair that is growing, that is not reached the length yet, is very, very, very important. Ultimately, our clients want hair from root to tip to reach the very tip, especially one length. They don't want it all fading away and breaking off, and then before you get to the ends, it's very fine. They want that thickness. And by maintaining these little ends that are growing through teeny tiny trims, we actually enable this to happen at a quicker rate. And again, it's about explaining that to your clients. Many clients don't believe us when we say trimming your hair will make it not grow quicker, because we know we can't make the hair grow quicker, but it enables the ends to be more sustainable. So if the hair is growing, say, an inch at the root and snapping off an inch at the end, we're not getting anywhere. But if we just trim it very regularly and do very small trims, we maintain the condition of the ends, which means we get less breakage, which means in turn it will end up being and feeling, looking longer and also thicker. So that's just a little bit about the explanation behind this service and how I'd promote it to clients as well. Now, I take it in sections. It takes around about 20 minutes to perform in total, dependent on the length and the thickness. It's basically working on planes of hair. So I'm just going to take this section out from underneath, just because I feel the section is too big. You basically work by, it needs to be as smooth as possible, but if you wouldn't alter the natural texture of the hair with straighteners. So you actually take your hair in the fingers as you normally would, and then what you do is you take this finger and you place it on top, like this. So this is where you're going to cut the hair. You're going to cut the hair in here. As you actually work the section down, it will start to reveal the shorter hairs. We work each section and we inspect all the way down. So as you're actually working down the section, you inspect what is present above your finger. If you feel these sections need to be trimmed, you trim the end. And you do each section differently. Some sections, particularly on the top, where maybe more blow drying or it's been more exposed to UV, pollution, excess styling, excess brushing, maybe require more trimming, whereas the underneath, particularly maybe the nape or the occipital, will need less. It would be up to you to depend on what areas to trim. You only trim the very, very, very point. You do not trim anything more than, say, a millimetre or so. That is how you will get true maintenance. If you're actually trimming more than that, you're actually cutting the hair shorter, and it won't enable the hair to grow in a healthy, thick way. Okay, so I'm going to show you now the actual technique. So again, as normal, fingers, index finger. But what you do is take this finger over the top, as shown. So I'm going to work quite close into the root, over the top here. Now what you want to do is insert the comb, small teeth, underneath this section here and hold it with your thumb. The reason why we're doing that is because we want to comb the hair before it reaches the finger. Because if we don't, it will come at a distorted angle and we won't get a true reading. So I'm just going to go through now, and I'm not seeing anything right now, and I'm starting to see them coming in. And then what I'd start doing is I start trimming now. Can you see how microscopic I'm working? And I just work through. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm long-sighted, so for this technique, I don't need to put my glasses on. That makes me so old. I can't actually see, so I'm just popping glasses on now. If you are long-sighted like me, because I'm working quite closely to the hair. So as I started to do it, I thought, I can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to work through. As you can see, the comb is behind here. And again, I'm just going to start to trim the ends. I'm just going to do one side today, obviously. This isn't. And I'm working a narrow point scissor is most advantageous for this technique. And the smaller the scissor, the better as well. And I'm just really working through it. I spend my time as well. I want clients to see that this is actually a really good treatment because it's just going to really maintain those ends. And when it comes to pricing, you've got to look at your pricing strategy. It's very popular these days to actually charge for your time. So I always think that's a good assessment to make. So if it's 20 minutes, you know, I might think maybe £40 or £20, something like that. Yeah, I'm getting a few laughs about the glasses. Old age, old age. As well, naturally, this could be a part of a haircut. It doesn't actually just have to be a treatment as well. So yeah. So I'm just going to take that section there. You're going to hold it the same as before. So take your section in like this and then switch over. I find that's the best way. So hold it in like this and then hold that section there and then just bring your fingers over. But everyone will have their own little way of doing that. Comb the hair in place. Place your comb underneath and then comb down and then just go in. You've got to work quite closely again, so... And please only take off tiny bits. Do not. It's always good. You can work on the silhouette as well. And by that, what I mean, I'm actually looking down onto it so I can actually see the bits that are sticking out. Just working through. This really helps with shine. We know that light reflects off a flat surface. Split ends and ends that do not sit comfortably in that flat surface will eliminate the shine coming from the whole length. So clients to me, when I've done this, have actually said, my hair looks more shinier, it looks healthier, and it's because the light can bounce off it better because I've actually tailored all those ends away. I roughly work sections around about an inch to a centimetre, but you will take those sections as appropriate. I'm going to work this next section through. I like to work in small sections as well. You could also offer your client a head massage or different kinds of treatments to go with this. You know, always think about your experience. I mean, for me, the best part of working with a client is the experience. What we're doing is we want clients to not just look great, but we want them to feel great. So I've always been really passionate about creating experiences for clients. And I've added this service many times onto rituals. So such as like Indian head massage, some of the Karastas or John Masters rituals that I've worked with previously. And I found that this is just a really great way to bolster the treatment. So if I'm doing like a scalp rejuvenation and I'm maybe doing a massage with oils onto the scalp to cleanse the scalp and add essential nutrients to it, once that's on, if I want to process that, then I would do this part of the haircut, part of the treatment. So again, just taking that section through, inserting the comb underneath. The comb's really crucial to the because it's actually combing all this hair before it reaches the plane where we're cutting. There are machines that do this, split end removal machines. I haven't actually worked with them before. But I do believe that I've heard some good things about them as well. So again, what we're doing is we're now working on, and you can already see, it's just creating that light. It will stop the hair feeling so frizzy. You know, you won't get those little frizzy bits that stick out as well. And you would do this for the whole head. You would do it for the whole head. So that's really important. I'm just going to take that section in when it's too big. And again, just work through. Decide where you want to start from. I can see there's no split ends in this section here. So you wouldn't necessarily always start right from the roots, but you've got to make that assessment. And the sharper the blade, the better. And I'll tell you why. When we cut, if the blade is blunt, we will actually cause further damage because microscopic, if you looked under a microscope, what you're actually doing is creating tears. So it actually tears the fibres of the cuticle on a blunt pair of scissors. The sharper the scissor, the better the incision that you will make, the cleaner the cut. So it'll be straight across. So you've got to work with an extremely sharp pair of scissors on this technique. This technique is also really does excellently well with hot scissors. Now, I don't know if many of you have actually worked with hot scissors, but I worked for a salon in London that was pretty well known for its hot scissors treatment, and this is how we did it. This is where I learned it. We did it with hot scissors. What hot scissors do is the steel is actually heated up, so as it cuts, it seals the end. Now, hot scissors start from around about £1,000, so they're not cheap. So not every salon can afford them, and I don't own a pair myself. They were actually owned by the salon. So when a client booked in for a hot scissors, this was the first part of the treatment. So we went through and we did this. We also did the twist. So this is another way to do it. So you can twist the hair like this. And then what it'll do, it will expose all the split ends that will come out. And then what you can do, you can go through and you can trim them. Now, I find the only problem is with this is some of the bits are longer and some of them are shorter. So sometimes I think you take a little bit too much off some areas that don't need it, which is why I prefer to work with the flat technique, because I'm working in more of a controlled panel of hair. I'm working strictly on this panel rather than a larger plane. But if I worked the hot scissors through here, I wouldn't be touching my fingers at any time, so I wouldn't burn myself. But I would then seal the ends off. If I was to do hot scissors cut, I would be charging, we charged £180 for the hot scissors cut. That did include a full cut and blow dry as well, when we cut all the hair with the hot scissors. It was a very premium high-end salon, so naturally. But if you're going to invest £1,000 into a pair of hot scissors, then you need to recoup the return on your investment. So then this service would become a little bit more expensive, and you would need to talk to your clients about the advantages of hot scissors. But a little tip, I don't know anyone that's doing hot scissors cuts in Manchester. So anyone who's interested in getting an in-salon service and wants to make that investment, it was very popular for the salon I worked at in London. It was fun to do as well, actually. But, you know, naturally, you've got to make those assessments in terms of whether your business would be suitable for hot scissors as well. But I do find it still works as well with normal scissors. You know, we're still maintaining the hair all the way through. We're still giving that nice maintained look. I'm looking at the plane of the hair. I'm just going to do one more section now. So yeah, so hot scissors is definitely something that you could consider as well. I think it would be really cool. I'm just going to work 2 more sections. And again, and I'll also say this as well, clients were really, really into hot scissors. We used to get a lot of bookings for hot scissors. I've come for hot scissors, I've come for hot scissors. And the most people, when I'd say, why have you booked in today for hot scissors? And they said, I've researched it on the internet. And if you actually do research about hot scissors on the internet, you'll actually see that there is a lot of evidence to suggest that actually they are extremely good for your hair. Because I was a little sceptical at first. I was like, hot scissors, really? But a lot of clients really, really like it. But I don't have any hot scissors, so I'm just working with normal scissors. So I'm just going through and I'm just maintaining those ends. Can you see? It's just microscopic incisions that I'm making. And it just really helps maintain the hair condition. And it just means these ends, that when they start growing down towards the length, they're going to be in much better condition and less likely to break, because we've trimmed them as they've been growing. We've not waited for them to get all the way down here, because if we wait for them to get all the way down here, the majority of them are going to be quite damaged by the time they get there anyway. So we're maintaining them as they're growing to the perimeter length. I'm being cheeky now. I'd spend a little bit more time on the front and the top than one on the back and underneath. Just because that's where the client's going to see the visual, and also that's where the majority of the hair probably will be damaged. Because at the end of the day, we're offering a commercial service, and it all depends on the time that you're actually, the price and the time. So you've got to really think about, right, if I'm doing this in 20 minutes, I'm going to concentrate on the top, I'm going to concentrate less time on the back. If you're actually offering this as a really high-end luxury service, and it's maybe going to be 1 hour, then I would concentrate on all areas. But you've got to start thinking about that pricing strategy. So I'm just taking that comb underneath there, and then the foam is placed there. So that's the actual position of all the fingers. And then we go through and we just start to work the section through. I'm going to upload this to YouTube as well. It will also be available on the Pivot Point resource, because I looked back at the last one that I just did. And yeah, you can barely see what I'm doing. The feed's so bad. So I apologise if I'm not getting a good feed today. But I will upload this to YouTube later for you guys to check out. Yeah, I'm just working through. There we go. And then just spend a little bit of time on the ends. But naturally, what I'd want to do, I need to probably take about that much off. Typically, what I tend to use as a benchmark when I'm talking about trims, you'll get a lot of clients saying to you, well, how much needs to be taken off? And we've all heard this many, many times. And it's quite frustrating as hairdressers because we're not just about maintaining, we're about creating fashion, we're about creating style. I typically tend to recommend where the point I can see through. So for example, on my black shirt, if it was laying down onto the black shirt, it would be the area where I can start to see the black shirt through it. So it would be here. As you can see, we can't see it here. And this is only a small part of the hair. So we can see it's quite thick there. I'm just going to come a little bit closer. But when we start to work through this section, we can start to see the fabric. So this is the bit where I would trim it, because that's when the hair starts to look in poor condition. So this is the section that I would trim. So if this was, say, my hair and it was all the way down here, you know, that's the section that I'd be looking to remove today as a maintenance cut. And that's the one benchmark that I always use. I always look and make a visual assessment. I say, from here I can see the underneath of your blouse or your top or the gown. I would recommend to remove that section because it's not going to promote that healthy final finish. Okay, so that was just the split ends treatment haircut. Nice little, I think that's the quickest session I've actually done in the entire time I've been teaching Instagram Live. I will upload this session onto our YouTube channel. I will also hyperlink it onto the Pivot Point course, which is the alternative cutting program. So just to round up, we did a textured haircut. We also did the razor bob. And we've done the split ends treatment. There was the social media project, upload your favourite image of a textured haircut. There is also 2 quizzes to do on there as well. For those of you that have completed all the learning, I will go through and issue the certificates upon my return in 2 weeks' time. You are not going to see me now for a couple of weeks, and because I'm actually taking some holiday. I'm not going anywhere, because I can't really go anywhere, can we? Yes, I'm taking a short break. We will be still posting stories. And for those that have not completed all the courses that I've put on there, the next 2 weeks is a really great opportunity for you to pop on to Pivot Point and complete those courses. So I'm just going to go through them now. They are the Introduction to Classic, Contemporary and Creative Cut, Colour and Perm Winding. So they're 3 separate courses. I also did the Advanced Styling Programme and this programme, the Alternative Cutting Programme. I have seen a number of learners who have completed the quizzes and completed some of the projects but have not completed the headsheet assignments. If you could complete those in the next 2 weeks, I'll be able to award you your in-house certificates. That's really all I have to say for now. I hope that you guys have a wonderful 2 weeks. We are going to be making some announcements on our Instagram over the next 2 weeks, and as well doing a few gift challenges, and there'll be still activities for you guys to partake in, as well as the Pivot Point resources, and we will still be running the usual DM service, and there still will be people to contact at the Michaeljohn Academy. Okay, I'm going to sign off. It's been lovely to teach you as always. Stay safe, keep well, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.